you give us the construct of how you will deconstruct the racism that was built into the roadways that you talked to the griot earlier when you broke that information with us. Can you talk to us about how that could be deconstructed?
For sure, yeah. So the principle of Justice 40 is that at least 40% of the clean investments in this bill will go to benefit the communities that are overburdened and underserved. As to where we target those dollars, I'm still surprised that some people were surprised when I pointed to the fact that if a highway was built for the purpose of dividing a white and a black neighborhood, or if an underpass was constructed such that a bus carrying mostly black and Puerto Rican kids to a beach, or that would have been, in New York was designed too low for it to pass by, that obviously reflects racism that went into those design choices. I don't think we have anything to lose by confronting that simple reality, and I think we have everything to gain by acknowledging it and then dealing with it, which is why the Reconnecting Communities, that $1 billion, is something we want to get to work right away putting to work.
All right, guys, so that is our woke transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, talking about dealing with systemically racist roads and highways. Yes, the roads and the highways are racist, according to the woke White House and the transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg. Our administration, or the Biden administration, the people that are allegedly running this country, it's a clown show, okay? They're more concerned about race than they are real, actual problems. Like, what's going on in East Palestine, Ohio, the train derailment that has caused chemicals to contaminate the air and water.
Massive train derailed Friday, 20 of them carrying hazardous materials as flames lit up the sky in northeastern Ohio.
The evacuation order is in place for anyone within a mile radius of the crash site.
These aren't storm clouds. This is the fucking shit! The fucking shit they burn off in East Palestine! This is not fucking storm clouds! Look at it!
This is horrible!
I got arrested because I was trying to do a live report about what people need to know.
Officials are claiming that the air and water are safe. Residents say they can still smell chlorine. They've complained about their eyes watering when they go outside, and one woman says the noxious air killed her chickens.
Out of nowhere, he just started coughing really hard and just shut down and went very fast.
Look at all these fucking crows. I'm not kidding. This is within 10 miles of East Palestine.
If you have not evacuated, please leave the area.
Yeah, and you would think that our transportation secretary, Pete Buttigieg, would be on it, right? He would be on this. He would be talking about this. This would be at the top of his mind, at the top of his agenda, considering that, again, this probably is the biggest ecological disaster in American history. But no, he's not. He's busy at a conference talking about how there are too many white construction workers in so-called communities of color. Take a look.
To work with your contractors, to work with your community colleges on building a workforce that reflects the community. We have heard way too many stories from generations past of infrastructure where you got a neighborhood, often a neighborhood of color, that finally sees the project come to them, but everyone in the hard hats on that project looking like, doing the good paying jobs, don't look like they came from anywhere near the neighborhood.
Right.
You can build community wealth that will help close wealth gaps in this country if we can tear down those barriers. But that happens at the delivery level.
Yeah, so there was no mention at this conference at all about East Palestine or the train derailments that continue to happen around the country, like the one that happened in Texas today. Take a look. Yeah, so that one was caused by a truck crashing into the train. Okay, you have 20 plus cars that derailed. Who knows? Maybe dangerous chemicals in those too. I wonder, are they gonna blow up those chemicals as well too, and try to release the stuff into the atmosphere and the air like they did in Ohio? Who knows? But all I know is that the situation in Ohio and East Palestine just continues to get worse.
We now know 3 more chemicals that were on board the Norfolk Southern train that derailed here in East Palestine just over a week ago. And we're being told that some of those chemicals are dangerous.
We basically nuked a town with chemicals so we could get a railroad open.
The U.S. Environmental Protection Agency sent a letter to Norfolk Southern stating that ethylene glycol monobutyl ether, ethylexyl-acrylate, and isobutylene were also in the rail cars that were derailed, breached, or on fire. Caggiano says ethylexyl-acrylate is especially worrisome. He says it's a carcinogen, and contact with it can cause burning and irritation in the skin and eyes. Breathing it in can irritate the nose, throat, and cause coughing and shortness of breath. Isobutylene is also known to cause dizziness and drowsiness when inhaled.
I was kind of surprised that when they quickly told the people they can go back home, but then said if they feel like they want their homes tested, they can have them tested. I would have far rather they did all the testing.
Caggiano says it's possible some of these chemicals could still be present in homes and on objects until you clean them thoroughly.
There's a lot of what ifs, and we're going to be looking at this thing 5, 10, 15, 20 years down the line and wondering, gee, cancer clusters could pop up, well water could go bad.
Caggiano recommends anyone who's in the East Palestine area get a health checkup. He says get a record of where your health stands now so that moving forward you have documentation of any possibly related effects to the train derailment.
Palestine Police Department is warning that drinking water may be at risk for some people following last week's train derailment. Officials said that the Portable Well Task Group will be knocking on doors of the homes that they have identified as having that at-risk drinking water wells. The news comes just days after officials gave the all clear for residents to return to their homes following a fiery train derailment on February 3rd. The Ohio EPA is investigating impacts to water and possible remediation, collecting water samples from nearby water streams and Sulphur Run, where a dam was installed to prevent further contamination.
Yeah, so things are getting worse, okay, across the country, not just there. And again, Pete Buttigieg is talking about white men having too many jobs as construction workers in so-called communities of color. Again, this administration is a clown show. They're so concerned about wokeness that they actually don't give a damn about real problems, okay? Pete Buttigieg was, again, worried about, breastfeeding or whatever with his man and on paternity leave while we had a supply chain crisis, okay? While we were in the middle of the worst part of the supply chain crisis that caused unprecedented inflation in this country, this guy was not on a job. He was nowhere to be found. Lo and behold, fast forward here, more than a year later, okay, Pete Buttigieg is nowhere to be found again, except talking about how there's too many white men, right, with construction jobs. Again, it just never ceases to amaze me how wokeness and woke virtue signaling seems to be the main priority of this administration over actual government, right? They don't care about governing. They don't care about real problems, having real solutions, anything like that. All they care about is, okay, how woke can we be, right? How woke can we be? What can we do to say that, hey, we don't really like whites, okay? We want to promote LGBTQ, Black Lives Matter. We want to do all that, but again, we don't actually really want to address real issues. Again, Pete Buttigieg is a guy that, people can argue failed to enact the proper regulations to help ensure that the trains would have the proper braking systems or more updated modern braking systems that allegedly could have prevented this from happening. And I think he should be answering some questions, right? The media should be asking this guy questions about why did this happen, and is there anything that he could have did to prevent this from happening? However, no, he's just spending time talking about woke stuff. Again, amazing. Maybe, just maybe, he's just not interested in that type of train, right? I'm sure he's interested in trains, maybe just not that type of train, okay? He's not the only woke diversity and inclusion hire at the Biden administration that is an embarrassment. We also have Corinne Jean-Pierre, who recently introduced the replacement for Biden's communication director, who fired because there's a mass exodus going on at the Biden administration. And of course, she had to mention that the new hire is gay.
I also know that Ben is making history. As you know, we believe here in the Biden-Harris White House that representation matters. He will be the first openly gay communications director, which is very, very important indeed. Okay, with that.
Yeah, of course she had to mention that, okay? The most important thing that you guys got to know is that he's gay. Okay, he's gay. Okay, again, that apparently that has something to do with his ability to do the job. I can't think of what, but maybe it has something to do with his ability to do his job. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. But Corinne Jean-Pierre, who was questioned by the media, not on East Palestine, but on the alleged UFOs flying around in the atmosphere, right, in our airspace. And she had to come out and make clear that they were, in fact, not extraterrestrial.
I just wanted to make sure we address this from the White House. I know there have been questions and concerns about this, but there is no indication of aliens or extraterrestrial activity with these recent takedowns. Again, there is no indication of aliens or terrestrial activity with these recent takedowns. Wanted to make sure that the American people knew that, all of you knew that, and it was important for us to say that from here because we've been hearing a lot about it. I'm not.
Would you tell us?
I'm just, I loved E.T. the movie, but I'm just going to leave it there. Okay.
Thanks for clearing that up. Makes my job easier.
Yeah, so of course, after the straight white male came in to answer the questions that the lesbian, black woman couldn't answer, they ended the press conference with no questions whatsoever about East Palestine. None. Zero. Nada.
Sorry, guys, we have to end the briefing. I got to go into the Oval, but I will see you tomorrow. And thank you for the compliment on the smile. I appreciate that. But I'll be back tomorrow. Thanks, everybody. Have a great one.
Yeah, so you seen that, you heard that. The Biden administration, their priorities are out of whack. Now, again, I think that the UFO thing is important. I think it's definitely a issue of national security. It should get some coverage, but I don't think it's more important than people being poisoned, okay? People, having their town nuked, okay, and having all these chemicals spread into water, into the atmosphere. Again, it is amazing to me the deafening silence that has come from the mainstream liberal media in this administration on this issue, because I'm pretty sure if this happened under Trump, this is what they would be talking about. They would say, well, how did this happen? They would blame Trump. They would say it happened because of Trump. Somehow, some way, it's Trump's fault. And I'm sure they would be demanding answers from the transportation secretary, right? And, the government officials running the EPA and all these other, officials that are supposed to oversee this stuff. They would be demanding answers. But when it comes to the Biden administration, though, for whatever reason, again, they don't really seem to care about this. It's something that they're just kind of sweeping under the rug. And it really is disturbing to see the cover-up that is going on from the liberal media. It really is. But again, as you can see here, as we have disasters going on in this country, this administration remains focused on wokeness more so than actually addressing real problems and real issues. I get it. There may be aliens flying around in the sky, right? But we already are dealing with an alien invasion at the southern border, right? We need to take care of that alien invasion first, and then maybe we can worry about the alleged ETs, okay? I'm just saying. Priorities are out of whack. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.